Okay, so this is going to be just a review of what we've covered so far this week, and I'm going to give you a bit of work to do once we've just quickly reviewed a few things. So last time we met, we talked about the difference between photosynthesis and cell respiration, and you can be seeing a lot more of this in Bio 20. We know that chloroplast is a site of photosynthesis because of the chlorophyll that's contained in there. And here's the formula for photosynthesis. And here is the formula for mitochondria, which occurs in the neighboring organelle to the chloroplast. And what I want you to notice here is that the products of one are the reactants of the other, in this case, cell respiration. The products of cell respiration are the reactants for photosynthesis. So these have got low energy, these have got high energy. So the energy is going to come from the sun, and this is going to raise up these low energy molecules to create high energy molecules, which then are going to get oxidized to then form low energy. But as they form low energy, chemical energy is produced in what's called ATP, which we can then use. So energy flows through the system, but as we see, matter is cycling. Key theme in biology. Okay, stomata. We talked a little bit about this idea that potassium, when it gets pumped into these guard cells, draws water in. And when the water gets drawn in, it puffs up these guard cells and it creates an opening. So the opening is the stoma. And that's going to allow gases to move through for photosynthesis, but also water with transpiration as well. And we noticed also that another term for these on the stems is called lenticel. Same concept. Okay, cross-section of the leaf. We did a lab on this where we did a scale diagram. We identified the upper, lower epidermis and the mesophyll, the middle for mesophyll, where there's a palisade layer and a spongy component right here. And spongy because of the oxygen and carbon dioxide that moves through it. Okay, so it needs lots of air pockets. So carbon dioxide is going to enter, and oxygen is going to leave the leaf through these tiny little porous stoma. Okay, water transport. We said this occurs in the roots, in the xylem rather. These are dead cells that will form the wood of the tree. And that water is very sticky. It's got adhesive properties where it sticks to the xylem, and it's cohesive because of hydrogen bonding, which makes it stick to each other. And that stickiness is key because of how water moves through the plant. And so water is lost from the leaves through transpiration, and then it gets pulled up through the stickiness all the way to the leaves. So as water leaves, more water is pulled up. So I'm not going to read all of this, but we've covered this. We've talked a bit about this. Within the xylem, hydrogen bonding holds nearby water molecules together so firmly that the column of water behaves like a rope. So we call it the water rope. So transpiration pull is enough to pull water up from the roots to the leaves. Yeah, and as water moves up the xylem, the water in the roots are replenished through osmosis. And spend a bit of time going through this. It's a good diagram showing the stoma and the water leaving, water molecules leaving, and then drawing more water up from the roots. Okay, glucose transport. Unlike water transport, glucose transport can move both ways from what's called a source to a sink. Now, a source could be, say, a leaf. Here's my leaf. It's going to make sugar, and that sugar is going to move into these these cells, the phloem cells. And when the leaf starts pumping a bunch of sugar in here, that's going to draw water in. So at the source, we create a high pressure, and that's going to push the sugary water, the sap, down into the sink, which would be like the roots, would be a sink. Okay, and this is called the pressure flow theory. Glucose actively transported into the hollow sieve cells. Water follows by osmosis, and it forces it down to the roots. This diagram is really good. It just kind of goes through that whole thing. High sugar concentration to low, glucose generally moves down. I want you to watch this video. It's a nice summary. And then after the video, I want you to spend a bit of time just making sure that you've got pages in your workbook, pages 13 to 17 completed for next week. And then next week, I'll post the answer key, but this is your workbook. I'll post the answer key on Friday. And then next week, we are going to do plant movement tropisms. And so we'll finish up plants, the biology next week. And then the week after, we're going to start global systems, which is our last unit. So we're actually right on track pretty much.